The Canon EF 16-35mm f4 might be one of the best valued lenses on the market. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why this lens might be the best choice to have if you're in the market for an ultra wide angle lens for your RF mount camera, and how it still performs like a beast in 2022. It's got its flaws in some areas, I won't lie, and some lenses might actually be better than it in them areas, but for the price, you really can't go wrong. So first, let's just go over the main features of this lens. So obviously it's 16-35mm and the aperture is f4 throughout the 16 and 35mm. Now the one thing that separates this from the other EF lenses out there, such as the EF 16-35mm f2.8, is that this one has image stabilization and the f2.8 versions do not. And that was the main reason why I went for this lens, because I wanted that image stabilization to pair it with my Canon EOS R, which doesn't have any in-body stabilization. And I thought, especially for me with the Canon EOS R, I really thought image stabilization was a really big deal for me, so that's why I went for this lens instead of the f2.8. If you have like an R6 or maybe an R5 and you have in-body stabilization as well as like a gimbal, I do have a gimbal like this sitting right behind me, but I still wanted that image stabilization. But if you do have like an R5 or something, maybe the f2.8 version might be best for you, because as you don't really need image stabilization, especially if you've got like steady hands or gimbal. And that's where one of the flaws actually come into this lens, is obviously low light situations compared to the other f2.8 lenses. That f2.8 lens really will help a lot out in low light situations rather than the f4. So when I'm actually in low light situations, especially for example if I'm shooting a YouTube video at night, because I shoot all my YouTube videos on this like right now, then it can actually get really dark and I do have to up my ISO quite a lot, even when I have my big light next to me here, just because of how dark this room can actually get. But one thing that I love about this lens as well is also the autofocus. It's using the ultrasonic autofocus because it's a Canon L lens, and I gotta say it's super fast even in 2022. It tracks the eye great, it focuses really fast, even on single point or tracking focus as well, so I can't really say anything bad about the autofocus in this lens. And now why I actually think this might be one of the best choices to have in 2022 is because of the price, and also because of the EF to RF adapter. Now this adapter right here is absolutely unbelievable. It basically makes EF lenses work natively on your RF camera, and I really can't get enough of it. I've got two EF lenses, this lens and also the 70-200 f2.8, and they both work basically natively on each one. The autofocus is unbelievable, the images are super sharp, it works so well with it. Literally, this adapter is unbelievable. So that's why I think any EF lens really is such a really good option to have in 2022, especially this lens because of the price. Now for the price of this lens, you've got to say brand new, it's about £1,300 on the Canon store. You can find like cheaper versions of it as well, but I've got to say I bought this lens used and it's in absolutely unbelievable condition, and the used price market is unbelievably cheap. So you can get it on like MPB, I'm not sure what like the condition of it for. You can get it for around £500 or something, but I got this lens for, I think it was for about £450 or £480 on eBay. I've got to say, for this lens, it's an absolute steal. For a Canon L lens, a 16-35 ultra wide lens for £480, I've got to say it's one of the best deals out there. For example, like the f2.8 versions, if you want to buy that brand new, like the version 2 or 3, that's like £2,000 I think on the Canon store, and used it's about £600 to £700. As well as the brand new RF lenses as well, the 15-35 and the 14-35. They're like £2,000 as well each. I think the 14-35 might be about £1,800-ish, and used it doesn't go down any really because of how new they are. So the price of this lens compared to all the other ones out there is second to none. Like the difference in price is unbelievable, and the quality you get of it is so good. I bought this lens mainly for real estate, and that's what we're going to be talking about as well in today's video, of how good for video it is. And I've got to say it's one of the best investments I've made, because for real estate it's so good. You can capture so much of the house and how wide you can get of it. You can get all the angles you want especially, and you can also zoom in on them tights as well at 35mm to get a different angle without changing lenses. I've got to say this lens is one of the best lenses for real estate, and I love it so much. Even for real estate photography as well, it's just amazing, and for the price you really can't go wrong. I've got to say it's so crucial to have an ultra wide angle lens for real estate videos, and I'm really not disappointed with this lens. I really don't see myself upgrading from it for a very long time. And I must say another really good thing about this lens, and why it's actually replacing really my 24-105 f4 to 7.1, is because of, well, I was meant to say vlogging, but all the audio I actually recorded yesterday when I went out just didn't work at all. I didn't plug the mic in properly, so make sure you plug your mic in properly. It's happened a few times now, but basically what I was saying here is it's actually really good for vlogging, because obviously you've got the 16mm wide lens to actually show off more of the scene, or it's a great way to actually show someone else off who you're with if you're talking to someone like on a vlog or something. You've also obviously got 24mm, which is more of a tight shot, but it's still in a nice wide angle, and then 35 35mm is a little bit tight, but that's also good for just any everyday video really. But for vlogging, that 16mm is super wide and really nice, and also the 24mm. And I actually took some landscape photos as well. Before I actually was talking about that, I was actually talking about the sponsor of today's video, which is Everfun. And this is actually a very special sponsor for me because it's actually my first sponsor on this channel. So thank you for the people at Everfun for sending me this cool bag. And I gotta say, the one thing when you can't forget when you actually are shooting is obviously keeping hydrated, and having a cool bag on you at all times is actually a really good way to do that, because it keeps your drinks ice cold, so you're really fresh and ready to go, and it also keeps your food fresh as well in that top compartment as well. It's got two side compartments on the right and left for storage. You've got a front zipper as well that actually you can store stuff like batteries and SD cards, and then the main middle bit here you can put two ice packs in, and then this is where you can put your drinks. So I've got two tangos in here, and then I've also got my water itself, and on the top compartment is where I actually have my lunch as well. So it's really nice because obviously if you've actually got your normal camera bag, you've got all your gear in there, you might be able to fit like one little bottle of water as well on the side of the actual bag itself, but any food and like tango drinks and that, there's just no room in your camera bag at all. So having a nice over the shoulder bag, I picked the over the shoulder one because obviously I'm already wearing my backpack, so the over the shoulder one was best for me, and it might be best for you as well if you've got a camera backpack as well. So thank you again for the people at Everfun for sending me this cool bag. And basically what I was doing next was actually taking some landscape photos, because I actually haven't done it before, but actually having a look back at some of these landscape photos, that ultra wide 16mm is really nice for showing off the whole scene as well. 35mm as well, getting some tight shots in, it's really nice for that as well. F4 gets a little bit more in focus, and obviously like f1.8 or f2.8, but overall it is really nice for like photos and landscapes as well. I would be able to show you my real estate photos, but because of the clients don't really want me to share them, I can't actually show you the photos, but the photos actually come from this lens is really nice for real estate photography as well. So landscapes, real estate photography is really nice. I like this lens a lot for photos. So yes, even though I've actually used it more for video, photos are really nice for it as well. So if you actually are more of a photographer, you're not going to go wrong with this lens, especially if you're a real estate photographer or landscape. This lens will be perfect for you. But overall, I've got to say, this is one of my favorite lenses, and I'm so happy I brought it. It's so good for so many different things. Like, I think it's a must-have for any photographer or videographer. I literally just keep it on my lens at all times. It doesn't leave it. The only time it does leave it is obviously if I want to change lenses, but because of this really cool compartment on my low pro bag, I just get it out instantly, and there it is. Easy to vlog, easy to record myself like I'm doing now, and I'm always on it, always here. 16mm to 35, such a versatile, crucial lens I think for everyone to have, and I really do recommend it. So if you are interested, I will leave the link in the description below for you to go buy it. But anyway, that's the end of the review anyway. I love this lens, you'll love this lens, and I really do suggest you go out and buy it, especially if it's used as well. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next video. See you later.